Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another Adamant Cup race. This one, Dragoon Helm group, which has a very strong overall group with microKorgs sitting at 3-0 versus leggystarscream at 1-2. My name's Vitasia, and I'm joined tonight by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Poydrick. How we doing tonight?
I don't know. I didn't know I was suddenly a legend. When did that happen?
I think whenever you have a dragon sprite as your icon, like you immediately become several tiers more important whenever Final Fantasy is involved.
I guess so, but I'd rather just sit on this loot and read book.
That's fair. We have ourselves a telestart, and going over these objectives, we have, lots of interesting objectives all over the place, and then chat, of course, talking about it early on is rewarded. We have a required Cave Magnus.
Yep, we've got forging the legend sword with the adamant, completing the Tower of Zot, trading away the rat tail, burning that village mist with the package, defeating the Baron Castle basement throne, the Odin spot, and completing the Giant of Babel as well. So lots and lots of running all over the place. There's nothing really too out of the way, I suppose, except no guaranteed necessarily needed trip to the moon.
And of course, when there's no necessarily needed trip to the moon, that's when Rando is going to Rando, and we're going to get Darkness Crystal to start, right? That's how the rules work.
I don't know if it's how the rules work, but that's how the logic sometimes happens. Yes. In terms of our runners, though, microKorgs currently at 3-0, looking to ensure their place with a win here into the next, at least the playoffs, because 4 wins will at least guarantee that. Leggystarscream, on the other hand, needs a win in here and in their last game to pretty much avoid being knocked out.
Yeah, and this Dragoon Helm group has been an absolute. It's one of the most stacked groups when you look at the names top to bottom in the Dragoon Helm group. microKorgs currently leading at 3-0, but still you have Commander Leonhardt in here. You have Dusty Griff, who's been a winner of many a tournament. Rex Banner is definitely a solid runner. Leggy Starscream, and then Ultra's Professional also in the community. This is one of the more stacked groups, and to see microKorg sitting at 3-0 with a possibility of going 4-0 is not something that we necessarily would expect with a group this stacked. But Korg's really showing how it's done.
Yeah, he's been a solid runner for quite a while and really showing it in this Adamant Cup this time. But we are underway. Telestart with a early Palom. That's not too bad. Being meeting by the Laughing Man himself. And, well, it's not the Darkness Crystal. It's the opposite way.
Yep, we're going to the underground early with a hook. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we're immediately going to go there, but it does incentivize our runners to check that. There is a higher likelihood that hook is our intended access to the underground. That Laughing Man, though, Golbez in Baron Castle, that personally dissuades me from wanting to check Baron Castle if it's not necessarily required.
But
what's your opinions on that?
It is required. We have to go to that Odin throne today. So that we are going to have to go through that Laughing Man Golbez.
Both runners doing what is considered a very popular early game move. We turned on free key items for this portion of the Adamant Cup tournament, which means no more hunting around for the D-Mists, no more boss hunts. It's just free key item from Bedward. And hello, we have a rat tail, which we gotta turn in. So, okay.
Yeah, our objective number 3 is on the table already. Why does that feel really early for an objective getting done?
I mean, a lot of the races that I've run have been like first objective, 50 minutes in, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, the objectives are designed to be a little bit deeper into kind of the logic of the game. So, seeing it already available, I mean, the only 2 key items we have and 2 key items required. Well, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, microKorgs did raid the public treasury of Troya Castle. Well, Leggy Starscream decided not to, but is looting in Damsion, likely going to be picking up that hovercraft, checking that rat tail, and maybe heading back into the Cave of Lana. It's worth it because there's some decent loot down there, and you get a character check as well. And you've got Teller, so you can exit whenever you want.
Well, speaking of character check, we did just see microKorgs go ahead and go up to Mount Hobbs, and all he found was a bard that wasn't even a spoony bard. It's a non-spoony bard at this point. I am in the same position as microKorgs and saying, I might be desperate for a little bit of damage, but I'm not that desperate that I would take an Edward or spend any time on an Edward right now.
Yeah, Edward. I think it was best brought up that he's a good fifth character. However, we only have 4 characters available in this, and there's another one of our. This is an interesting chain. Chain of objectives being done here.
So, yes, complete Cave Magnus is absolutely required. Let me tell you a little something, though. This party, right now, is among the worst parties you could possibly have for even attempting that. Because that is a very high magic defense location with nothing but a party of casters. If that ends up being our required access and we have to keep on going through there right now, I might even be tempted to go get Edward because he's the only one who can do much physical damage at all right now.
Yeah, you're really going to hope there's someone in Baron Inn or down this hook route that can do some heavy lifting on the physical side. Likely, we are going to find someone and well, there's Sirens, so we do have some sort of mini grind if necessary. If we need some experience for some of those hitters.
I mean, that's nice. Certainly would like to see it. Seeing Leggy doing some opening checks in these treasure chests on the way down. Some runners have opted to wait to open anything until they do the character check. In part because there's a save point back there. Plus, if you happen to find an hourglass, you can possibly take the treasures at the same time and take the trap chest. But already halfway through, so now is going to be doing the character check. And would we like some more magic?
Well, yes, because there's Rydia and Mom Bomb, not one of the gating bosses, so this hook could be that way underground. And Mom Bomb isn't exactly a nice boss to fight at the Rubicante spot.
No, the Rubicante spot hits hard. And with physical attacks being the only thing that Mom Bomb really does, that can get really painful really quickly, especially for a party made up entirely of individuals who cannot wear any sort of heavy armor. We haven't seen a whole lot of defense available to our party as of yet, so a little concerned about how this is going to go. That Leviathan standing right next to Rydia, though, helps.
Well, yes, it was for sale in the Cave of Lana shop, but Leggy Starscream is going, okay, I will take that for free. And microKorgs following down into the Cave of Lana as well, going to be coming to see this character. And Leggy Starscream exiting out.
Yep, I did not see the trap chest. I think everything was just about opened up by Leggy, which tells me that the trap chest is probably in one of the pots in the Evelyn nursery.
Yeah, the only other one that she didn't pick up was the one at the very top of the map, just after the. It's the one to the left of where you see the character, and the very top, the one even further to the left. It's hard to say exactly where, but
No, okay, I get it, because it's like it's right next to where the character was, but you have to get it like on your way and loop around. And
yeah,
I'm picking up what you're putting down, Poydrick.
yeah. So that's the only other one that wasn't picked up, no, but it a little bit out of the way anyway, so it's understandable. And Leggy got really lucky; he didn't find the crack test, so no time lost. As for Rydia hitting things, well, Heroin Robe, Dragon Whip, you could be hitting things very soon.
Rydia could be hitting things. Rydia has kind of the most options to hit things right now. Leviathan, as soon as she has the ability to cast, I've seen a Leviathan and an Asura summon. Leggy is not resetting. Oh, is resetting out of Mount Hobbs and Edward. This is, I don't know. This is not exactly the start that I would want for for this particular race. It is a magic heavy start, with everything pointing us towards an early Cave Magnus if we really want to. Mom Bomb in order to get through the sealed cave or the to the underground. This is not shaping up to be at least an easy start for the runners.
Yeah, that Heroin Robe does give a bit of defense for Rydia later when that Mom Bomb fight is coming up, but it does affect her magic stats, so it's not going to be a good solution unless you find something else to help with it. Because even with Dragon Whip and Heroin Robe, her attack power still isn't quite there. You really need to be facing up against Dragon to get the full benefits of that Dragon Whip.
Meanwhile, Leggy on this Asura fight, so that's this can be a little bit rough, but we have the J items, I think, to push through at this point in time. Yeah, Leggy gets through. We still have some early checks that we haven't touched on yet. Mount Ordeals is going to be a must if we're going to keep Tella along for any stretch of time. And then there's Fabool. Do we fade it? Do we go ahead and go onto the underground? I think with this party, we probably take that. And then there's, of course, Baron Inn that we haven't checked yet.
One of the deciding factors on whether Fabool is going to be taken or not, it could be the fact that they're both not going to be doing that Mount Hobbs fight. Because of that, they're going to be a little bit lacking on experience for these casters if they go up to Ordeals or do Baron Inn. So this fight, go into Fabool here, get the good amount of experience, something like 4,000, I believe. You just gives Palom a little bump up to get at all of his tier 2 spells on, some much needed levels on Rydia and hit points. She doesn't have a lot, but every little does help.
Yeah, and I think the name of the game in this early part is going to be who can find the most levels to get, because we have the sirens, and I would not be surprised to see microKorgs and Leggy going ahead and taking some levels maybe at the top of Ordeals. The sirens that you can use up there have some really fantastic experience for the early part of the game, with some Lamias that are weak to fire anyway, and you have your Palom who knows fire too, can make relatively quick work of those.
Yeah, got Baron Guards at for ball though, fairly simple fight. They're going to peg your size depending on what you do, but they're not exactly too difficult here, and Leggy through that fight fairly quickly.
So first runner through is going to be Leggy. It looks like Micro might have reset out.
It does look like that, but we're not entirely certain the reason, and going straight back in, so confident in the fight.
And we have an Adamant available in the football defend. Now, that's something that we're going to need to have Coco forge the Legend Sword eventually. So another required key item, but not really much direction after that.
We've got 4 out of 4 required items in our checks so far, and the 5th one being the pass, which is a great way to get to Zeromus. So either the things are stacked, our checks are stacked today, or there's possibly a jet sea coming on or a bad thing happening down the line.
So everything that this is pointing towards right now, and I'm going to make a prediction right now. And chat, do with this prediction as you will. This is going to be a hot take, and it's going to be a bold prediction. We're going to find an early darkness crystal before we go to the underground, either up here on Mount Ordeals or in Baron. One of these runners, and the runner who is going to win this race, is going to look at that darkness crystal, look at the party that he has, and says, there is, the best thing for me to do right now is do a D machine grind and level up the party as best as I can and commit to a 4 mage party and just roll with it.
I can see that possibly happening, and the thing that really pushes me away from it a little bit is the Tower of Zoth and the Earth Crystal and the package. We don't really know exactly where they're going to line up, but if they're going to come in early, and as well as an early darkness, I can definitely see that working out quite well.
Yeah, I mean, just because there's no other good grind right now. I mean, you can be up on Mount Ordeals. This is not a party that, there are some parties that I think you can sneak through into the underground with the hook route with maybe an undersized or a little bit undergeared party. This is not one of them. Not with Palom, Antilla, and Rydia. Add whatever 4th character you want. You can have an adamant armored edge, and it would still be kind of a rough go of it, if not take a whole lot of time. I think when you have this party, levels are important, and a darkness crystal right now could let me say, hey, let's go ahead and just commit myself to getting all the levels I'll need for the whole race.
Yeah. Hello is the one that is going to facilitate that as well. After Ordeals, getting weak, yeah. We'll have to see. We've got a lot still to go. We'll see what happens.
Yep, I mean, still lots to do. They're both up on Mount Ordeals right now.
Yeah, Leggy has got through the Leviathan fight, which is in the first spot. Rydia did some work, then took a Ice 2, so got knocked down just before she could get the experience. And
Uh-oh.
You're not getting 4 deals. Not with this party.
No, this is horrible. I mean, okay, let's take stock for a second. We know that our intended access to the underworld is not here. Now, we kind of figured that our intended access is going to be the hook anyway, so this doesn't give us that much knowledge. But really, I mean, anything, if we get past this, we're not getting past this.
No, Rydia can hit with the Dragon Whip, with the Heroine robe. Yes, she can hit once, but that once will be for 7 out of 5, but potential, because 4 are lost because of the evasion. That once would be 72, around, as we saw, 72 hit damage. That spot has 3,000 hit points. You are not getting through it.
Yeah, this is. I'm honestly surprised that either runner spent any amount of time, because yeah, Grimoire is gonna whiff. We saw Leviathan whiff. microKorgs is making another go at it, but about the only other thing like I said, I would have done on top of Mount Ordeals, maybe use a Siren or two, trying to get a couple more levels, because this Baron fight might be difficult right now. All I know is one thing. Shout out, big shout out to Harumph, our person behind the scenes on the restream, who rolled this absolutely magnificent seed that I am absolutely ecstatic that I am on this side of and not playing right now.
Excuse me while I giggle at the second Rydia, our duplicate character of this particular seed at Baron Inn. So I hope you're liking all this, because honestly, I am. Rydia, though, is definitely going to be the one to get you through this. Kenyatta in this spot isn't bad, but it's not exactly great either.
No, this is. Oh my god. I mean, okay. Kenyatso here, you have your entire party who can cast Lit. So I think of all the places that he could be, I'm cool with it being right here.
Yeah, and it is slow enough that the Lit, you should be able to get the lightning spell off before the wave. So it shouldn't be too bad. You definitely want Rydia hitting more than what I think was 300 on a Leviathan, because of how much her wisdom is nerfed because of the Dragon Whip Heroine robe.
You know, the problem that comes in as well is, without being able to clear that Mount Ordeals, Tella is even more worthless than he is under normal circumstances. He is stuck at exit mage stage and not much better.
You can't not forget Blink. Blink is still
okay,
good.
Fair. Okay, you're right. I concede that point, yes.
Yeah, Rydia hit for 460, which is more than her Leviathan did.
I mean, chat says it. Let Rydia hit things.
Ice 2, though, coming out from Palom. Yeah, the turtle has been fried and cooled.
Oh no,
and,
no.
Vitasia, I have questions.
You know what? I had nothing to do with this. I'm telling you, I called it, chat. I called it. The problem is, D Money is going to do us no good if we can't beat that Vivalas and get Tella our weak spell. I think
yes,
we'll.
But it is a character check, and who knows? Who might be on the moon?
I mean, Ground Flyer is asking me to give him 6 numbers right now. I'll tell you what. I'll give you 7. 8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9. There you go. Take that to the bank. No one has ever played those numbers in any lottery ever.
Probably for good reason, but never mind that. microKorgs, though, also through the Kunyatso fight, just about to pick up his Darkness Crystal and go, why?
This is, yeah, I think at this point you go and you check Fu. Kudos to Leggy, who's trying to outfit a party of mages right now and is now going up to Castle Eblin to loot. There's some fantastic loot to be had here. A white spear for not appearing in this party. I imagine there's some Hanzo steel that's for not appearing in this party. And a dragon whip for already equipped in this party.
Well, there are two ready,
Oh, true.
so
Well, we need a second
why
one, yeah.
not? The question now is, do we have any hourglasses? We could definitely do with some.
Yeah. It would be nice if we had them. microKorgs is turning in the Darkness Crystal. I mean, I can appreciate the plays that both runners are making. Although, right now, Palom, are you able to... Yeah, not going to be doing enough damage there. And a reset out by Leggy. This is the point in the race where if you're either of these runners, I think you have to check yourself for a little bit of tilt. Because this is, I would call, the opposite of an ideal start for most runners. And you have to take into consideration that all the horrible things that you are thinking and feeling and going through and cursing Harumph up and down for rolling the seed, the other runner is doing the same thing. And that's the most important thing in a rando, is anything that you have to do, your opponent also has to do.
Yeah. The big thing though, I feel microKorgs is making the correct decision here. Leggy, yes, you can check all the boxes here and get some good things. You really need to fill out this party of yours. Check this character up the top. Check the shops here. If there's hourglasses in this particular shop, that makes the trap chests in Castle Eblin much easier to deal with. But overall, I feel microKorgs is making the stronger play. But getting through these fights, yeah, if Leggy can, she might pick out something decent.
We have Vanilla Moon Fu. Oh boy.
We have, if Week is on this Fu right now, take away the don't.
Oh, ditch Iridia. Okay.
Personally, I would have gone on with the teller, checked, fought as many fights down on the earth as possible, and just get Weak and then D-Machine grind. The situation that you described earlier is exactly what we need to do in this particular seed. Get nuke on the kids and roll with it.
I mean, there's some coffins. There's a couple of early boss fights that I think we can take. I didn't see Weak on Fu, but we have... Hey, let's go ahead and do... let's do something that we never thought we would see in this particular tournament. Let's do a demist cave check. Let's do a waterfall check. Let's get some extra bosses in. Hopefully Fu can loon Weak.
There's those two as well as that ant lion up on Mount Top. Can't forget that hasn't been fought as well. So there's 3 bosses. There's 3 chances of Weak.
Oh my goodness! This is Harumph. I cannot stress this enough. This is your 5th symphony. This is your magnum opus. This is just... Mwah. I appreciate you so much for rolling this seed.
And microKorgs straight to Mist Cave. We want spells on Fu.
Yeah, and this party, like, we have a Twin Heart, but this party is the opposite of setup for Twin Heart for anything. Oh, and Zop 1. Yeah, I guess we could do Zop 1 theoretically, if we really want to.
Yeah, Leggy has got through one of the trap chests in Castle Weapons, so we'll see what she picks out of that. Artemis bow isn't exactly bad, actually. Rydia with an Artemis bow and maybe some charm arrows if they've been picked up, that's a little bit better in some cases than that dragon whip.
So at what point because we are clearly clearing bosses right now on microKorg side in an attempt to get Fu enough spells to do something. We have speculated, of course, that hey, if he gets weak, D-money grind, and then the rest of the game is going to be a piece of cake. Except for, of course, the harp, which will be disastrous, kind of no matter what you do.
Well,
But
Val on ordeals in that particular spot as well. You can level up your characters as much as you want. Magic still isn't going to hit.
true. So the question then becomes, and this is kind of a rude Ogo spot as well. Well, I'd rather it be here than anywhere else. At what point do you like? No, I got Ice 3. I'm good with Mom Bomb. I can solo it with Fu. Does that ever cross your mind?
It's a possibility that may happen. I wouldn't want to bet on it because everyone else around you is going to fall, and even a Fu can only take so much, especially with the limited MP pool that he has. Yes, you've got some restoratives, you've got some E-for-1s, E-for-2s, and Elixir, but Mum Bum is still going to hit fast and hard.
True. All right, so we have Antlion. This is our third boss in the quest for Tella, or for Fusoya, I'm sorry, to learn Weak. Now, how Fusoya has generally worked in Free Enterprise is he will gain 3 spells and 100 HP for every boss that he gets through. Palom now learning Virus, and these 3... what?
I'm not certain. I think I saw something.
It was
I think I
It was 2 white spells and a black spell. I saw. Okay, there was stop was the last spell. Okay.
Okay.
So it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw white, but I'm not too certain. And so, but still no weak there. But still plenty of spells on. Oh, it was Warren Slow. Still, plenty of spells on that Fu that we can see going forward. That should get you through these fights. As for Leggy, well, off to making the daring play.
This is a very daring play. Now, I will say this for Leggy. I mean, we know as runners, logically, this is not necessarily a smart play to make because it's a high magic resist spot anyway. You have nothing but casters and a worthless Tella right now. But if you get something cheeky here, if you get a water hag, or you get the King and Queen of Ebland, or you get something that you don't necessarily like, it's a scripted fight, not necessarily something you need to power through the MP with. This might be the play. This might just break this whole thing wide open because logically we know that it's a disaster for a magic party to come in here. Well, but if you're feeling behind and a magic party is here, I mean,
she does have ways around it though. She does have that Artemis bow. She does, if she's got some decent arrows, she does have the dragon whip and heroine and robe. So there are physical options, and plus there are a lot of bosses that don't pick up that magic resist because if they're split bosses. So there are a lot of ways out of this. It's really just the fact of, do we hit any of those particular scenarios? We're just about to find out because here comes Dark Elf with the wiping of the party, because this is going to be hurting, and music is coming our way.
Absolutely. We'll let DJ Spoony B mix up his. I don't know. Are we going for a bop or a mood tonight? We'll find out. Oh, and we go down. That's among the more rude bosses to be there.
It, it it's a difficult one, but it's not one that doesn't have it out. Unfortunately, even though Odin is really weak to lightning, Lit 2 just doesn't quite cut the bread on it. It's almost there. It did more than one. It did 80 to 170. It's just the magic resistance there is just a little bit too much for it. Uh, if the spell power was a little bit bigger, if Palom had a few more or multipliers, that would have been okay. But unfortunately, off to the moon, Leggy goes.
Scala Kitty in chat, one of our wonderful tournament admins, saying this is going to be one of those seeds, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, I think so, Scala. This is shaping up to be a masterpiece.
But I guess on the good side, we get to hear music at least 3 times this seed.
And I think it was from Sim City, right? Like, it sounded like a pretty jamming track.
Yeah, that was what was quoted in chat, and Xenocat, our maestro of twin harp songs, did say that it was. Leggy off to the shop. We did see coffins here, so going to look at them and say I could have done with them in Castle Eblon.
It's like, yeah, that would have been nice a little bit ago. Meanwhile, microKorgs through Castle Eblin. So we're at a point where we have to start making decisions. And microKorg's decision is, well, I guess we're going to the underworld then.
The thing we're hoping now is something that isn't bad at the King Queen Evelyn spot, because there are a lot of punchy bosses that will ruin a mage party like this very quickly. And one of them, I don't. We've jinxed enough on this, but I would be really, really tickled to see Dark Knight Cecil there.
I was going to say, you got to say it. You are not allowed to tease us that way if you don't tell us what you're thinking. Yes, a Dark Knight Cecil would be. Let me see. Dark Knight Cecil at that spot does, on average, I think somewhere between like 400 and 700 HP per swing, and he takes 3 swings at the whole party.
Yeah. The only other one worse would be Evil Wall, but we don't want to bring that down onto anyone.
Yes, we do. Don't say that. Yes, we do. I will say, whoever ends up winning this race, because I know we're 37 minutes in, but this race has been absolutely horrible up to this point in time, and anyone can win at this point. Whoever wins this race will have earned it 100%.
Yeah, this early game is bad, but it's not something that can't be overcome. It's just, do you find the things that are absolutely needed to get you through this? The tools are out there. It's just, can you find them? Can you utilize them? Foo is a good start. We do have physical options to get through the Vow. Not the best ones, but the options are there. The Odin fight, right, we can get through. There are a number of options. We can get to the underground if you spend the time and play it carefully. So yes, the options are all there. We've got sirens and we've got the moon. We've got coffins. And so we can deal with that as well to get some experience. So everything's there, but can you utilize them? And how quickly can you do so? Because you're on a clock. Even though you're on the same aim seed as your opponent, you are in a race.
Yeah, and this is, we mentioned it earlier, but this is the point in that race where there's no good decisions, and I think you end up starting to either question your own judgment. You end up, this is where your hands get sweaty. You get nervous. You start worrying about every little mistake that you end up making. I'm not going to make an 8 Mile reference. I promised myself this, but it's true. You start getting nervous, and this is where your gameplay, even for people who are professional speedrunners, get so nervous that it affects their gameplay.
One of the tools though that has been made aware, Foo, even at this lower a point, does have Berserk, and that Rydia is currently Berserked with that Dragon Whip, whipping away at Valvalis. Seeing how we get, seeing how far that gets. It's only 150 around about per swing. Well, between 110 and 140, but still, it's consistent damage that's coming through, and Foo does have enough MP left over to keep everyone healthy.
Right, so Leggy might find some added benefit over here while microKorgs is going. And okay, we have some dolls.
Not bad. They're not the hardest hitters of this particular spot, but they do keep punching. And the back three are usually the more dangerous, but they're in the back rows, so their punches won't be as dangerous. But this should be fine. Of course, if you get a big doll, but here comes the Leviathan. We're fine.
Just gotta sweat that out a little bit. Yeah, Dolls to Mom Bomb, not a terrible. And of course, we did not quite see the spells that microKorgs ended up getting.
No matter what, yeah, you go back, you save. You know you're going to come into this fight on a little bit of the back foot, but through with a Lilith rod and with a few defensive gears, should be okay. Hey, you're ice free. I'm not really too sure if that's really the spell you want, though.
And a shake. And that's the end of the tornado. On Leggy's side, well played. That was not an easy or straightforward fight, but first one through on Mount Ordeals. Let's see how well this is going to pay off for her.
If I can make any suggestion, save. You don't want to go through that again, just in case
you've just say you never know.
Yeah, yeah, you can probably get through any fight that's in the crystal room here, or the mirror room, or however you want to call it. But you've just gone through 5 minutes of Val in the back attack spot. You save.
And microKorgs just getting absolutely pummeled by that Mom Bomb. One shots all around, even with some extra things. That was painful.
Well, unfortunately, leggystarscream got a coffin. It's 5,000 gold you don't have to pay on the moon, I guess. And Dark Knight. At least at the end of this, you are getting weak on your teller. That may be everything she needs to say. I'm done with this seed. I'm just going to D-Machine.
I mean, that's what I would do. Korgs trying to keep folks up long enough to get blinks off for Mom Bomb. It is kind of rough going right now because Mom Bomb lifts at this location. I would say just is very swole.
Blink is going to help, but you're mostly relying on Video and Leviathan here. Fu hasn't really been set up for black magic, so those ice freeze aren't going to do that much. Maybe 2,000 at most. Leviathan is really your big thing here, and yeah, Rydia's MP isn't going at 3,000 isn't going to be enough, even with the recovery items that have been found to get through this. White helps. You really are hoping just to get through to the balloon stage and then go from there into let the explosion happen, let the bombs come out, and then just take them out because they'll be a little bit easier to deal with.
And Leggy is making the play. Leggy is going to the Giant. Got weak on Tella and making the Giant play. We have ourselves a D-money grind in this tournament. Oh, I'm so happy I get to be here for this.
I think the other thing that really facilitates this is you've got to go to the Giant anyway. You've got because that's objective 6. You've got to complete the Giant of Babel. You might as well do it while you're there. And having two characters able to cast Nuke is not exactly a bad thing. 3 once Fu actually finally learns it.
The question I have is, did Leggy pick up any restoratives for MP?
There have been a few found in chests, and Leggy and microKorgs have sort of looted the same areas, so they should have similar in the way of ethers, elixirs, and other things. Plus, they've got a Lilith Rod. You've got two perfectly useful batteries in Palom and Rydia. And Boo.
And Tella has Psych. Okay.
Yeah, there's that too. microKorgs may be in a bit of trouble here if the bombs have their way.
Yeah, things are not looking too good for Korgs. I mean, through the explosion phase, they don't hit terribly hard.
But but 5 bombs up, their explosion, I believe between the 5 of them, their explosion's going to be more than the 1071 that is left on Fu. Which is only getting whittled away as you go along with the punches.
Oh.
Yeah.
oh, that hurt.
Yeah, because of the spot having 25,000 health usually, those grey bombs have around about 2,000 hit points. The red bombs around 900 to 1,000. Yeah, you really need. It's a difficult spot to get through the entire explosion phase with this sort of team in any good shape, and then you've got to whittle that down quickly. And if you only have one person alive, that's made all the more difficult.
Oh my goodness. So meanwhile, Leggy opened the trap chest and is working her way through the last arm. It's not necessarily a free trap chest, but it's not overly difficult, so long as your characters can still move.
Yeah, I think Fu has been magnetized.
Fu has been magnetized. I think Palom has been magnetized. I think it's kind of in a rough spot where I think only Rydia is doing anything right now.
Yeah, I think even Tella has been magnetized. Well, if not, he has now. So Rydia really needs to hope that doesn't happen. Actually, does he'll? I don't think he'll actually
don't think
stop.
Heal does,
prevents heal stop. Yeah. It heals slow, but I'm not too certain about stop. Either way, though, fission only hits Tella. Perfect person for it to really hit, and fight's over. Quake on Palom, and well,
I mean,
it's nice.
I'm not upset with that, but I'm a little upset with that.
To answer in chat, can you wipe to magnet? Not itself, no. Magnet is really just a very powerful stop. What it does is basically it stops your characters in the same vein, but if everyone's stopped, because it's so powerful, they likely won't get a turn again for a very long time, and during that the last arm will just use beam each until your characters are down. It's a very slow death.
Whoa. Okay. So Leggy, at least checking the boss, right? You got to check for freebie here, and it's a Rubicante, which I'm resetting out if I'm personally checking this.
Yeah, you do have ice free on Fu. But this spot is really fast, so you can't really rely on the ice free to hit at the right time.
Yeah, I've reset out. Like, it's time for the D money grind. It's time to commit.
Yeah, encounters on, save, reset, time to find our grind. Meanwhile, microKorgs has got through that mum bomb at the third attempt, and underground.
That looked like the right fight. Searcher with a couple of beamers.
It might look like the right fight, but might have been a centaur fight. So I think I think the spot was one of those four fights, because it's usually a centaur, a searcher with a centaur, another a normal mixed fight, then another searcher with a centaur, and then the fourth one. This one should be the D money.
Oh, we see our Earth Crystal available. We're starting to get some new information here from microKorg side. An Earth Crystal in the Feymarch chest. So we gotta eventually do that anyway. Seems like a good thing to get done.
It's not a bad thing to find. Treasury is always an option, and although, do you really want to go check it with these characters? I'm not entirely certain, and more importantly, though, what are the this here? One fight that you don't want to deal with in Ultimum at Basura, and the other fight which is okay, but you still really don't want to deal with it.
No, there's nothing that you want to see about any of that. I mean, yes, Night Dude does make a good point. Lunar Frogs is viable if you survive that long.
The thing is, can you? Because still the majority of what the D-Lunars do after is punch. It's only the second turn that they will do a fire, and then fire each, and then it's another 3 to 4 turns of just hitting, and before the breath comes out. So it's a little bit shaky. Yes, you've got blink on a couple of characters, but you still got to last those times. And D-Lunars, there's 2 of them. They're going to get through them blinks fairly quickly. Climbing up Yang, though, going over to see Sheila 1. And from there, well, we'll see where microKorgs goes. Looks like he's dedicated himself not to go to the Giant until later. Now.
Yep, I think that's fair. Once you're through, like, the real need to do that, it does look like, okay, just dropping the hovercraft off just in case, just for efficient routing.
And the hope that you get a pink tail.
Just we're hoping right now. We have a wing and a prayer.
Not exactly required. You've traded away the tail that you actually need to do. The pink tail and adamant armor, you never say no to them. Well, you can, but would you?
Hey, hey, we have more. Harumph, why? Why you do this to people?
Yeah, our crystal sword parity has been restored. Leggy finding one in the last arm chest, microKorgs finding their one in Sheila 1.
I mean, if anything, that crystal sword is like, okay, let's do character checks until I find Cecil. Because Cecil.
Yeah, and Zot is a perfectly not a good place to check for that Cecil. Cecil is restricted under this, so he has to be behind a key item under these flag settings. But Zot, you need a key item to go and finish that. So he very well may be there. There's 2 characters waiting.
Oh no. Oh no, microKorgs. So we know, as people who have observed this, Leggy has already checked what is here in Cave Magnus, and we know that an Odin is waiting for us here. I still question the ability of this party to get through this particular fight.
This, I honestly don't. microKorgs is going in with a completely different outlook to what Leggy did in this particular fight. The levels are a lot higher, so Palam's got a lot more power. The other thing that Leggy didn't have is a Fu that's got some spells. White breaks through a lot of spell defenses as well. So there's a lot here that is running well for microKorgs compared to this. So I think he's going to get through this just fine.
All right, so Leggy looks to be done with the grind for now. Gets quite a few levels. Looks like Fu gained 3, so that's quite a bit. It looks like we're probably in high 30s. That's not bad levels.
Yeah, you do need to remember that don't have tanky items. There's no actual slingshot, and the spotlight is on Edward.
Oh my. Okay, I'll be quiet. Okay, so Korgs gets through it. That, I mean, eventually just had to outrace it at that point. Did learn Nuke there, though.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised microKorgs didn't use a certain item in their inventory. That would have went well with Fu. At 1500 hit points, he had a lip bolt, which would have done somewhere around 3000 damage to that Odin. There's not really too much else to use it on, so would have been good, but didn't need it. White Leviathan enough to get the job done.
All right, Leggy's still working her way through. this Rubicon fight, slowly working away. This is a very high HP spot. Remember, you're normally fighting all four fiends of elements through this spot, which uh, definitely has some HP refills. I think going on at this point. It's just a very very punchy spot. Lots of HP to chew through at this point in time, and just not doing the kind of damage that you're expected to usually be doing at this point. Honestly, I probably would have done another round of leveling up, of grinding before doing this.
Yeah, Leviathan is going to do some work. Ice Free will do some work as long as you hit it Rubicante outside of the cloak, like it's just about to hit here. It's hitting him within that cloak when he's opened his cloak period, which is a lot more difficult because of his speed in this spot.
Yeah, it's real rough. I mean, you want to try to slow him down at some point. I think the problem is Ice 3 also has kind of a long cast time compared to something like Ice 2, which usually you can time a little bit easier because it's not quite as far off.
Oh, here comes the very important demist summon.
Now that Grimoire, double Grimoires.
Speaking of demist,
Oh, hi Demist, how you doing?
she got summoned into existence.
So, question in chat is: if Cecil is here, do you take him? And I'm unclear
Yes.
whether or not you mean in Earth Crystal or at the end of the Giant, but the answer is yes for both. They both have a crystal sword. You absolutely take Cecil.
You are hurting for physical damage at this point. You take a physical damage dealer. If Edge is up here, you take him. If Yang is up here, you take him. You take a physical damage dealer if you can get them up here. If it's Rosa and Purim, then we've got issues.
Do you take a Sid? Well, here's a Yang, yeah. So we're gonna, yeah.
Sid is I'd still say yes in place of the teller. You don't need the teller now. You're not going to go up or you're not really going to get too much out of him that food can't give. But the other thing to note is Michael, if he's going to have a settle, he still needs to go up or deal.
True. True.
Not that he's up, settle is up on Zot today, Yang, but yeah, you take Rosa.
Huh. Huh. That's I don't know what else to say. Like, huh.
I'm really surprised at the keeping of Teller here. If you're not going to go up ordeals, yes, he's an anchor, but you can get that anchor in elsewhere. There's a second Rydia that hasn't got too many levels waiting in the Tower of Wishes. You can go back and get the Teller later if you need to, and he doesn't get that experience. It feels odd.
It does feel odd. Yeah. Meanwhile, Leggy still on Rubicon. It feels like microKorg, and this is the problem with doing kind of an underleveled giant. Is that it feels like we've been doing this Rubicon for a long time, and we don't know how far along. I haven't been counting damage, but it does feel like we're getting close to what I would call the panic mode where I'm spending so much time on one boss that we can't afford to keep going too much further. Although, I mean, this might be rough enough that Leggy is thinking that microKorgs has to do the same thing.
Small issue coming out though. Starting to run low on that MP, and has run out of life potions. Is having to rely on the life staff that was picked up earlier to raise the characters, and since Teller's sort of out of MP, well, was out of MP. If Fu goes down, that makes it a little bit more difficult.
Oh, hey, look what our Sand Ruby has netted us.
And Ruby Azot equals a Cecil.
Yeah, kick rocks, Tella. You're done. You're done.
microKorgs still needs to get up ordeals though. And honestly, him getting through Val is still a very, very daunting prospect. Because, well, he's got Fu, he's got a Dark Knight Cecil. Either of those is going to happen. Palom isn't really known for his physical prowess, and Rosa is still base level, or just above base level. So not got a lot of physical power in her own right. Yes, Artemis bow, Heron robe, arrows. You can do a bit with the aim command, but it's still going to take a while.
I want to see Dark Knight Cecil berserked. I feel like that's something that we might see here directly.
He won't hit a thing. Base level Dark Knight Cecil will not hit hard at all against a Val in the back spot here. Even with a black sword, you don't hit.
Leggy. Oh, Leggy. Come on, Leggy.
He's really hoping that Rubicante doesn't run out of MP at this point.
Sealy Faye does make a good point. Leggy doesn't know that Ruby will actually cast life on the party if you cast fire on him.
Very true.
It's a very, very sort of.
Oh, she's through.
Oh, Hallam doesn't get the experience, but oh, Leggy is so happy right now. Meanwhile, Korgs is through that Val fight that we thought was going to be difficult.
That went a bit quicker than I expected. Must have been that Artemis bow and whatever with power sash, and yeah, aims can do quite a bit of work since you are skipping all of the evade rolls. So yeah, maybe about 700 damage per. That's a lot quicker than what Leggy did in that particular fight.
So this was a lot for Leggy. The grind and then the long Rubicon fight. But how much are those levels going to benefit her as she plays catch up from this point forward?
You want more levels. Sorry, but Evil Wall says no there.
Yeah, that looks terrifying.
Evil Wall in that particular location is one of the hardest. It's joint hardest. It's hitting location, and yeah, Evil Wall hurts and cheats, so it will get one shot for every one that you get. So there is a Moonveil though out there.
Yeah, Moonveil on Rydia. So, and one shot.
If she can live long enough to do it, I think you're going to have to put your battle speed down here if it's going to happen, or Rydia in the back row. But it can be done. It's got this spot is something like 30 to 40,000 hit points. It's another one of those really long-winded fights that you really don't want.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Meanwhile, we have microKorgs who says, "Hey, let me set myself up with this crystal sword, bandana, power shirt wearing Cecil."
It's not crystal. It's not adamant armor, but it's close enough. The
All
only
right, so
thing that's
Moonveil
really
setup.
yeah, the only thing that's really missing here is the ribbon. And if you had the ribbon, this fight would be free. If you had an adamant armor, this fight would be free. It's unfortunately neither of those are currently on the table, so we're going to get into crush phase very quickly, and don't have any more life potions available.
Well, it feels like Rydia is okay, not zerked up, but yeah, this is going to end poorly for Leggy, unfortunately. Oof.
Yeah, the only way I see this fight really playing out well for Leggy here is bite the bullet, get do the last bit of grind, get them up to nuke, put them in the back row. They should survive a couple of hits and just let the nuke fly.
And instead, looks like Leggy is noping out and says, "You know what? I'll come back and do this later. I got some levels. Uh, this is tough watching this."
Yeah, it is going to be a hard. It's a hard giant. Rubicante is not nice in that spot. The glares aren't exactly strong on, but they come out quick, and the punches aren't exactly strong, but they come out quick. And Evil Wall was just plain evil in that particular spot. So microKorgs may still have quite a difficult time with it, but it's the amount of time that Leggy has spent on there must be eating away at her a little bit. It's you've just spent what, half hour up on almost up on the giant alone. That's a long time.
It is. You're probably not feeling too great about it, but at least you got the levels to get underground. I think in total, like Leggy will end up spending less time working through this mom bomb fight, which was not an easy fight. We saw microKorgs take a couple wipes to Mom Bomb as well. So I think Leggy's going to definitely have an easier time and feel more confident in that. The issue is that I don't know if it was worth the half-hour investment that she made, at least getting part of the way through the giant at that point.
The other side is that she does have a fairly high level Rydia now. She does have a fairly high level Palom. Fu is going to get spells very soon. You do have a lot of strength ready for the rest of this game. And as we've seen, there is a Cecil waiting in the wings, and Leggy is likely going to pick him up. It's really a matter of time. And time is what is on her mind the most at the moment.
So we got Cecil zerked up, looks like here, and going to try to get through. D-Lunars, I mean, Cecil can do quad nines here, but I don't know if quad nines are enough to. Yeah, not enough to kill and not trigger the counter script.
Yeah, but the HD Lunar only has 17,500 hit points. 2 swings is enough. As long as he stays up.
Yeah, that's the problem. He's gotta stay up, and that's really the trick. Because right now this counter script is just flinging viruses at this point in time. So you're just trying to create
It isn't now because there's only one D Lunar, because
Okay.
they have to have because what they do is they target each other with virus. So what at this point their counter script is to cast fire to everything, but they don't do anything else. Because the virus at this point they don't have a valid target.
That is good to know. Meanwhile, just a white lance, womp womp.
Well, no, you're not going to pick up Kane at this point. Leggy is getting through this Mom Bomb, going to have a much easier time, going to be surviving the explosion fairly handedly, going to have plenty of HP and attack power ready to take on the small bombs. It's just, when does the explosion happen? Or is the explosion going to happen? Because you might get through it without.
Yeah, so far so good on Leggy's side. I think definitely set up, as we mentioned before, in a much better position than microKorgs did. Micro did struggle his way through this Mom Bomb spot. Cecil, meanwhile, is set up very nicely. He looks like he's zerked up. The problem with Zerk Cecil is he doesn't cover automatically. So you're going to have some characters who fall over here.
And Crystal Sword doesn't exactly do the most damage against Octomom because it's Holy Elemental, and Octomom does resist that particular element. But still, 2,000 damage per turn is 2,000 damage per turn.
Absolutely. That's one of those interesting things about the early game, because in the original Final Fantasy IV script, we wanted Dark Knight Cecil to actually do a little bit of damage, so a lot of the early bosses were weak to Holy Elemental. Or, resistant to Holy, but weak to Darkness Elemental. And that's not something you see too many other places. And that's a tower key. Now, we don't have to blow up the super cannon in this particular seed. It is a very common objective, But that does kind of point us into the direction of the tower where there's 2 key items now hiding, doesn't it?
Yeah, the boss was checked on the way down. I don't remember seeing it, but we might see it on Leggy's side, who has been in that mum bomb. Only Rydia survived, but Dark Imp, I'd say that's fairly easy to deal with. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
not too worried about that one. I mean, particularly if you're microKorgs.
yeah, yeah, mum bomb on Leggy's side. We thought that she was going to have a easy time with it, but mum bomb had a different outlook, and only Rydia was left standing at the end of the explosion and got a Leviathan out, took out 4 of the bombs, then bombs 5 and 6 exploded on Rydia for 400 damage. Luckily, she had enough to cover that. So not any more time Leggy has spent outside of combat in a place she didn't want to be.
Meanwhile, the Magus sisters, located, they're the ones aiming the cannons at the dwarves. So we get to power our way through here. Not necessarily a great place. Normally, you just want to be able to swing. Wait, what? Did I just see Rosa, Arrow, dead? No, Rydia down. Okay.
Rydia was already down, most likely to a punch or a reflected spell, but aim doesn't care for that, and you can still hit someone who's downed.
Huh. I have been playing this game, folks, since I was a little kid. I have been speedrunning this game for the past 3 years, and I learn something new almost every time I watch a scene.
Yeah, and as Watch said, aim can also hit a flying cane.
This game was programmed beautifully back in the day, wasn't it?
Aim just ignores a lot of things, but like Val's spin, there you go. That came in useful earlier. Leggy, though, has picked up their Earth Crystal. Could see a check up there very soon. And get that Sand Ruby, maybe pick up that Cecil.
I mean, I know what I would do. Even though your grind is over and most of your party is in the level 40s, Crystal Sword Cecil is Crystal Sword Cecil. Like, he just is that strong.
Yeah, and you still got plenty of experience on the table. You still need to get through that evil wall at the top of the giant with 10 key items, which you're unlikely not going to be going back until you've got them at least. That's 300,000 experience. 300,000 experience on Cecil is almost all you need is to just keep going. So, yeah.
He's one of those people that you can, like, take at the early 40s and be perfectly fine with zero miss.
Yeah, and microKorgs utilizing that power of the crystal sword. Dark Elf does not like Holy in any ways. He's looked at it and said, "Okay, you're fine. You can move on. You can have this item."
Didn't look like it was much of anything, though, unfortunately.
We are Leggy is having a go at these Dark Lunas, though. Might be looking to see if she can set up the Lunar Frogs. Rydia can survive some punches, but not too many of them.
This is our heroine rogue, Rydia, so set up to be able to survive more punches than the usual Rydia.
This will only affect one D-Luna. but one can be enough here if you set out the to hit the one that doesn't have the that isn't hit the one that is a frog, and then the wall will miss, and then you can take it out while the other one virus is the unwalled frog, which unfortunately she aimed for the back one, which wasn't frogged, so that went awry. But not leaving too much time, just going out and continuing on. D-Loon is not strictly required. It's not as we know, it's not a progression item. Just a white lance. So we'll see what happens from there.
Meanwhile, we did pick up the package from that tower key location. So that is another one of our required objectives. We're now 2 items away from go mode. We need the Baron key and we need the Legend Sword. That's it.
Optimam is required today then, and so we do need to go back down to that Fame Archon leggy side, take on the Optimam, get through that fight to pick up that tower key.
Meanwhile, Leggy is going to check, and we have our favorite game, Rate That Treasury.
Rate that treasury.
There's some okay items there, but really, I really feel that at the treasury suffers, is because there's nothing ever really great in it that I feel you want to go wow for.
Yeah, that was given Leggy's levels, like nothing there was something like life staff would have been great. We've had like 3 of them this run so far. We already got the best sword. Nothing. I mean, I saw a sorcerer robe, but if a sorcerer robe is the single best thing you get out of a treasury, then it's a pretty disappointing treasury, I think.
There was a protect ring as well, so that's something. But again, two items out of 18. It's not much. microKorgs has just battered his way through Dwarf Castle, picking up the key item now, while Leggy is heading up to the Tower of Zot. Oh, Spoon! Edward! I think you're going to be staying in the Tower of Wishes. This is where microKorg says, no, I'm going to go and get him now. I don't see that happening.
I mean, Korgs would, if anyone would, but I think we're set, honestly.
We've got a Crystal Sword Cecil. We've got Rosa. We've got Fu. We've got the Anchor. As has been stated before, Edward is a great 5th character with the spoon. And there's only 4 spots.
Yeah, there's only 4 spots. Meanwhile, we have our Rydia still taking a nap as our anchor because Fu, Rosa, and Cecil, you don't need anyone else. In the meantime, microKorgs is now up on the moon, 2 key items away from go mode. And really the problem is all those levels that Leggy gained doing the D machine grind, all of that half hour spent, Micro wasn't doing nothing during that time, so is not necessarily at a huge level disadvantage. More than that, now has 10 key items, which doubles the experience that you get from every fight. A lot of runners end up saving any sort of grind until they get those 10 key items just to make it more efficient. but we may not even see any grind at all because with this party setup, Crystal Sword Cecil, Fu, and by the way, how would you like a free fight at Bahamut?
Well, they do call this cave value, and if just having to deal with fire 2, weak fire 2s and weak fire 1s isn't value, I don't know what is.
This is one of those fights that realistically you just kind of put your controller down and let the cutscene play off. Not a lot of HP necessarily here, but I think you're not going to out damage it right now. I would just let the cutscene play personally.
Well, you can and get through it. It's a little bit quicker, but yeah, we're an hour and a half in with really no true end in sight. This might be a great time just to set the controller down, let it play out, calm yourself down for the final stretch of this seed.
Absolutely. And, getting 3 levels a pop between your Cecil and Rosa, very nice, as well as a key item, which is just a moon veil. Now, we say just a moon veil, but we've seen how powerful moon veils are in this run up to this point in time. Not only does it give a reflect, it makes your character almost impossible to hit. So a very powerful item for a Cecil if you need to get through a tough fight.
Leggy has picked up that Sand Ruby. Is she going to go and pick up that Cecil? Is she going to check it? The answer is she's making the right call. She is.
Even with the levels you gained, Cecil is a Cecil. And already did Mount Ordeal, so will not have to do kind of that redirect up to Mount Ordeals at this point. Just free Paladin available for you in the bed.
Yeah, she's going to be looking at that Paladin and walk in, look at that Paladin and go, where have you been? Get in this theme. We're going evil wall hunting. Eventually. Is a bit odd that she's dropping the Rydia for that instead of the Yarn.
That is interesting. I mean, probably. I mean, then you have your Palom and Fu. So, I mean, it's a good party comp, but you are sacrificing a lot of those levels that you took the time to build up. Right now, well, and Palom was dead through all of those fights, so that is all the levels that Leggy gained through that Dean Machine fight.
Yeah, and experience is still on the table. Also, it is very possible that Rydia will get to nuke. It's almost guaranteed having to go through Giant to get Rydia up to that. It's just with everything else that's going on, yeah, it's going to happen, I feel. But maybe just wanting to go through a little bit of a different route in team composition. A little bit more heavily armored than microKorgs, as Dragoon armor and a crystal ring, and but not quite got the attack power that the power sash gives.
And let's see, that power sash was available fairly early, I believe, in one of the key item checks. I thought.
Either that or could have been one of the trap chests that didn't get done. I believe microKorgs did the trap chest in the upper part of Lower Babel.
Oh, Power Slash was Twin Harp, so Leggy is going to get it here directly.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. then yeah, this is fine. And for Leggy, the attack power isn't going to be staved off too much, and she's back for revenge mostly, I feel, as well as the objective.
Even though Cecil is level 1, level 1 Cecil, even with the crystal sword, will still clap pretty hard here. Meanwhile, microKorgs making his way down town, walking fast, faces past, and he's homebound.
Yeah. Having faced Plague at the Murasame, heading down to the altars nearer the bottom of the lunar subterrane, I mean, plenty of experience available here. Don't really care too much. Rosa's got cure for. Cecil's above level 40 now. Yeah, this is going to be cruising. It's just, what are the bosses here? And what's the key items that we're finding? Oh, well, never mind.
I mean, yeah, at this point, you're like, okay, well, Zircon Cecil, throw up some walls if we need to.
And Leggy has got that revenge. Odin has become... I don't know where I was going with that.
I was going to say, Odin took off. He's done. So got the revenge as the power shirt. microKorgs did pick up a couple of interesting key items. Picked up both the pan and the Luca key. So that's 3 turn-ins total to do back on the blue planet right now. Neither key item that we necessarily wanted to see, because we're hoping that we don't have to dive those. And we have an alt gauntlet at the White Lance, which is the last thing you want to see.
Well, it's experience, but you really don't want it at this point. I mean, Leggy definitely won't want to see that. She's done as much as she wants. microKorgs, it's just a long-winded fight at this point, right, as well. So yeah, elements not exactly what you really want to see at this stage. Especially, you're an hour 40 in. You've spent a lot of time so far. You really don't want to spend too much more.
Oh my goodness, we are an hour 40 minutes in, and we are still 4 objectives from being done. We have... Oh my goodness, this seed has been an absolute treat to watch. Would be an absolute disaster to run. Again, one last shout out to Harumph for rolling this wonderful, magnificent seed. Well done. Also, while we're at it, shout out to Warlink in the background doing the tracking for us. Oh, okay, so there's the Baron key. So we are now only a Legend Sword from Go Mode. We have 5 total checks more that we can do back on the Earth. And the only thing we haven't done here on the moon is that wonderful white lance with the alt gauntlet. And we are exiting out.
Haven't done the crystal sword altar either, but at this point, when you're looking for one key item, if you're going to have to walk to the crystal sword altar or go through that alt gauntlet, the pan and even the Luca key, the Luca cave, looks a lot more tempting. And because they're quick checks, if they don't, you can check the item in the Luca cave fairly quickly. The pan isn't that long on its 2 checks in itself. You can get through these fairly quickly, and if it's not either of those, a return to the moon is only a reset away. microKorgs though is committing. You don't go to Baron at this point unless you're committing to not going back to the moon unless you really, really need to.
Keep in mind, remember, it's been a long time since the start of this race. It feels like we've gone through such a journey going through this seed. But remember who gave us our very first key item in the hook? It was the Laughing Man, Golbez. So we got a bit of a cutscene to go through here. Now, microKorgs is set up. He's already got a dead Rydia serving as an anchor. So only one character, theoretically, is going to continue to take a nap.
Yeah. Should, as long as Cecil survives, so one hit is going to be enough. Because Golbez does not like the Holy Element and Crystal Sword. It happens to be Holy Elemental.
And this is a little interesting bit of tech that folks do or have done for Golbez. Now, you can have,
Yep, you can really hit someone hard when they're in the mini state.
I mean, yes, you can. But you cannot have another status effect. You can't have status effects stack. So, for example, you cannot have, in this case, the Golbez, stopped paralyzed state if you have another status effect like Piggy or Minnie on you. So it allows you to continue to kind of move through the fight very quickly. In this case, we went ahead and killed Fusoya because we know which 2 characters we want to live, and if there's only 2 characters alive when Shadow comes out, he will immediately disappear and say he's full. So this is actually just fantastic preparation on microKorgs' part, knowing what needs to be done to power through.
And since it's really going to be one hit wonder here, you don't even get the secondary script at the end to free yourself from the bind status. So yeah, easy victory there. Nothing really now except do you want to go and do the Odin Throne first or complete the rest of the Baron before going down there? With the power we've got here, I don't mind either option.
Well, and that was a little bit embarrassing right there because his Fu had no 8 MP. So he had to throw in Ether to be able to heal themselves from their status effects.
Wait, is this Wyvern?
I think this has to be Wyvern. We've seen everything else, haven't we?
We haven't seen Pale Dim. Surprise blog! Darn, Rosa got one up.
Surprise Blarg, and Blarg. A Blarg is a Blarg. Doesn't matter where you at. Mega Nuke still hurts, and that was quite a bit of damage on the rest of the party.
Luckily, at this stage you're not doing that fight for the experience, and Yeah, Boo, you don't need it anyway, and Cecil can do without 11,000 experience at this stage.
Leggy, in the meantime, picked up the cane that was available in the back of Dwarf Castle.
Considering and it was Kane or
Or
Yarn,
young. Okay. And we
the,
have a White Lance, yeah.
yeah, we've got quite a bit of gear for Kane. Something I don't usually see in this particular flag set, but we have got quite a lot for him. And if Leggy is thinking I'm not going to get too much more in the way of experience on that young to get him fully powerful, yeah, Kane will be better. Back
All
into
right.
Baron though.
Yep, got to get that Baron Castle basement. We were here, might as well have done the other one anyway, so we wouldn't have to walk it out. So here we go, Baron Castle basement. I have zero doubts microKorgs will be able to work his way through this.
Yeah, most of the rest of this seed, except maybe that Evil Wool, is pretty academic at this moment in time. A Mylon variant, yeah, we're good here.
Yeah, we're fine. We're gonna Zerk Cecil. We're gonna Quake we're gonna kill Rydia, of course. We don't want Rydia to get any levels. We want that RA1.
Leggy has got restocked on life potions after using all of them on the giant before. As said, I want some more.
I can't blame her, to be perfectly honest.
Is she going to the moon or back to the giant? Or is she just save?
Looked like she just dropped a save there, yeah.
Oh, this is just to check Sheila 1 on. And because she saved just outside of the lunar well, so if this is nothing, which I believe it is, she'll just reset back there and head to the moon or back to the giant.
There's a pink tail, so we get an adamant.
Yep, there's the reset, and yeah, Pinktail, his hovercraft is right there, next to the Adamant Cave. You've got a Featherwood Crystal Sword. You've got Rosa that could use that adamant. You've got Boo that could use that adamant. Yeah, you go pick up the adamant armor.
Yeah, Crystal Sword Cecil. Even if you already have a power shirt, yeah, we're gonna equip that. But that might be the last thing we end up doing. We have some other things we can do right now. Turning in the pan. We're gonna do our freebies next. It'll be interesting if we're doing the pan. Might dip down for a quick Luca Cave check. Because again, you can just reset out if it's not the Legend Sword.
Most likely, yeah. You're not going to be fighting anything really at this stage, and anything that's too dangerous at this stage. So holding off on the adamant armor is fairly good routing options. As you might, you don't really need it for the Zoromas fight. It's a nice thing, but it's not exactly required. So might not even pick it up at all. Especially when you've got the Legend Sword.
Well, that's go mode. That's go mode.
Yeah. The only thing I can say to microKorgs is I would suggest picking up that adamant armor, because we know, at least in the booth, microKorgs doesn't. You've got a Rubicante to go through. Adamant armor makes that fight trivial. And a evil wall, which is really dangerous, that can break through adamant armor defense, but it's still adamant armor defense. It's still good.
No, absolutely. Oh my goodness. So microKorgs is probably saying to himself, finally, at an hour 51, almost hour 52 at this point in time, in go mode now, does have to burn the village and then complete the Giant of Babel. Giant, as you mentioned, is far from free because there's some very rude bosses that are located there.
Yeah, just finishing up the last objective outside of the Giant. Well, there's our poem. And 8 copies of the Elder of Mysidia. I thought Mysidia was the good guys.
I mean, let's not pretend to know what happened before the story of Final Fantasy. If you have a bunch of black mages running around town, like, you gotta wonder what they're up to, right?
I suppose we could also say, let's pretend we don't know the story after Final Fantasy IV as well. So let's just continue on.
Yeah, I like Lord Bob Bree's headcanon. The Elder does not want to compete with summon magic. It's like, yeah, there's only one superior magic in town.
Don't they have 2 though? Leggy, though, up against Bahamut, considering we know this is the route to the rest of go mode, Pan and Lukaki here, definitely on the right path.
Absolutely. And hey, microKorgs is going to get his adamant armor. We know this is a fantastic. I put it on Cecil. I don't know. I mean, I guess you already have a power shirt, so the if you want to commit to try to keeping your healer alive, throwing that on Fu isn't the worst idea, but
Well, you got Rosa, so if you're going to put it on a healer, you're going to put it on Rosa. But Cecil is the most obvious choice.
meanwhile, yep, we are on our way to the Giant. All right, and we are diving down. At this point, microKorgs has run probably as good of a race as you possibly can. This has been one of those horrible, horrible, horrible seeds. Leggy is still working her way through these moon bosses and, doing her best at this point in time. I mean, Crystal Sword Cecil lifts a lot of weights. I think the major issue is that she spent all that time grinding, and then all the characters that got the experience from that grind are no longer in her party. So she's kind of in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, microKorgs is definitely heading out pretty quickly to the end of this. I definitely in the driver's seat. Leggy's just started out okay, but the the rest of the seed just didn't go her way. The giant really stopped her in her tracks.
Yeah, I think if she had grinded more in the giant to the point where, because it felt like a half grind, right? Where you got up to kind of the mid to upper 30s, where if you're going to be doing a grind, I think you have to full commit to it and just be like, I'm going to get to the point where all my party knows nuke, and I'm just going to go ham on everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was still a heck of a run. Like, it was a very creative solution to one of the worst seeds I think I've seen in this tournament, though.
Yeah, it just didn't start up. Not a lot of power to start off with. You had options, but the power was slow in coming, and the darkness crystal was really the good start. Getting that foo up on the moon, and got you going. The rest from there, it was just a matter of choice. microKorgs decided to run with the foo, who got through the mom bomb. Difficult fight, but got through it. Leggy deciding to go to the giant and to do a grind, as you say. Getting if they did the full grind up to nuke, might have got through it a little bit easier. But that's decisions made. Then is you can't fault her for just saying no to evil war CPU. That's you can't.
Meanwhile, Leggy is taking uh, this alt gauntlet fight. It's not. I mean, again, this is a long fight, so I can respect the commitment to this long fight. It's not, unfortunately, going to lead to anything. We know, based on our knowledge, exactly where the go mode route is. So whatever ends up being here, I hope it doesn't distract Leggy. Although I don't think there's any more.
There
I
is
know
not.
it,
The only thing that we're missing and that we haven't seen is the magma key. So we are perfectly fine. There's nothing going to stop Leggy from getting to the end of the seed. But there are a lot of places that she hasn't been that may take just may slow her down.
So, Poydrick, while we're on this alt gauntlet, do we want to cast any sort of thunder magic against this trigger?
Yes, you do.
That would be fantastic. That would be a great idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you want to cast exactly 2 lit freeze, one after the other.
Meanwhile, we are through the giant. microKorgs made pretty quick work of that evil wall. Edge was hiding out, by the way, at the end of this giant.
He would have been so wonderful earlier. We had a Murasame found with the power sash, would have been nice. Headband or bandana. Found a few other ninja swords for him. It would have been amazing. Of course, he's at the top of the giant.
And we are off. That is 7 objectives with the crystal, and we are off. We are going to swag our way to the back door to Zeromus. Of course, that's what the pass does. Normally, it takes you to the dancing room, but in free enterprise, it lets us cheat our way immediately to the boss. And I'm starting to see some Z flags that are appearing in chat. Poydrick, would you like to do the honors explaining what's going on?
Yeah, we're 2 hours in. It's been a long seed, and everyone's just fed up of my voice. You're fine, Vitasia. It's my voice. It's not nothing against you.
I do not believe that even one iota.
But yeah, we are done now with this seed, except for one thing, and that is the final fight, the ultimate fight, the fight against The moment we don't move him, he is stuck here in his lunar core. We just change the way he looks, which means we have to ask a question or something along those lines.
Yeah, but
Is he different to what he is today? Is he a certain anatomy?
like I believe the question, and hang on, let me clear my voice for this. I want to make sure to get the right inflection when we do this. If you're wearing headphones, by the way, just caution. By the way, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Oh yeah, that's the question. Demus, diamond armor from Final Fantasy VII. Old-time classic.
It's a fantastic sprite. Shout out again to Scala Kitty for really being the curator of all the different Zeromus sprites that are out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I think that we're in excess of 500 at some point. Like that, we don't have an exact number. They don't tell us that.
Yeah, I'm not entirely. I'm not in. This one, and as I said, it's an old-time classic. I'm not sure if this one was Skylarkity or back when Boardface was actually doing the sprites. Skylar can probably give us the exact details on it, but and it was her. But yeah, it's one of those really old ones that you that makes me wonder, at least.
Meanwhile, we have kind of a hybrid strat going on. Cecil is zerked up and swinging his crystal sword. Meanwhile, Rosa and Fusoya are reflecting magic off there. Remember, reflected magic does not trigger any sort of counter scripts in Final Fantasy IV as we have it programmed out, which means that the counter script for like countering magic with nuke doesn't happen. The counter script where if he happens to refill his HP pool, at the midway point of the fight, if you land enough magic back to back on reflected strats, he won't refill his HP. So that's kind of a nifty trick that you can do if you're primarily using reflective strats. With Cecil swinging hard, though, I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. But so far, I mean, this is really kind of a very textbook, relatively quick fight that microKorgs is running here. Just Cecil and Rosa, the dream team, and flash, boom, bang.
Yeah, there was a big bang at the end there that took that out for Fusoya, but Cecil, really, as soon as he got picked up, he was destined to be the star of this show.
And thank goodness, because we didn't have too many other answers anywhere else. But GG's to microKorgs, moving on to 4-0 in this really stacked Dragoon Helm group. Does have one race left in the group, and I believe that race is between himself and Dusty Griff, who does have one loss. So at worst, microKorgs is going to tie for the top overall spot in this particular race. And we are now joined by microKorgs. GG, what are your thoughts on how this race started out here, microKorgs?
There's a rumor that it's not really into the harp check, and when the seed made it mandatory, that should have been the warning to Leggy and I. GG to Leggy. I would like to link arms with Leggy and raise our fist against, I don't know what, the universe, Harumph, the seed, something.
Was a difficult start, not giving you a whole lot. It gave you enough, but it just said you've got to work for it.
Yeah, work and wipe. Yeah, the combination of at the beginning, the start it gave us, and the misplays I felt I was making that made that. Yeah, that it was very uncomfortable at the beginning.
So you found that darkness crystal, went and got the foo. What was your idea going forward from that point? Because foo was the real starting point for the rest of the seed.
Yeah, I mean, I just viewed him as a key that unlocked the hook route. I knew it would still be kind of tricky. I was, of course, hoping for a melee character of some sort to get through that Val, maybe. I mean, I really wanted an edge to Dart or something to get through the Val and Ordeals, because, of course, Val was going to be on that back attack spot at Ordeals. But I said, all right, let's unlock as many spells as we can get. The fact that I got white, I think, saved me. Not quite nuke, but good enough to get through that mom bomb on the second try.
We were interested because we were also counting spells. Would you have considered at that point in time if weak would have popped up doing a D machine grind to try to get some levels?
So when I saw the team forming, and I guess somewhere before I saw the back attack on Ordeals, I was wondering, hey, maybe I do a D machine with Tella. But then once I saw Val and I saw we were locked out of Ordeals for the time being, I didn't come back to that idea. So it wasn't on my mind that I was unlocking for weak. It was on my mind I was unlocking to get through the hook route. So once the Val, even though it would have been possible with enough bosses with Foo, and it turns out I guess I should have gone right to K Bahamut the first time I was up there. Sometimes I haven't done that a lot on this flag set, but I think it was KQE this time, and obviously that would have been more spell unlocks and more experience. But yeah, D Machine was not on my mind at that point.
And then, of course, when Earth Crystal will lead into the Sand Ruby, lead into your can opener.
Yeah.
Say.
Cecil the can opener, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, that's just pure, unadulterated relief washing over one's being when that happens. Does Nuke ever get through Val, or does Bahamut get through Val?
At that spot, nothing. No magic gets through.
Not even
nothing.
Not even a high roll Bahamut, like nothing.
Absolutely nothing. It is tied for the worst spot in that you could find Val. It's got the highest amount of roll. Well, it's got the second highest amount of rolls possible at 4 evasion rolls and completely perfect magic community in spin.
So there's no way I could have grimoire to Bahamut and gotten through that.
No.
Yeah, I guess because I grimoired, and what did I get? I got an Indra, I think, and it immediately did the flash and go away thing. If that had flashed and hit for 1, then maybe that would have been my indication that I could have gotten through with a higher roll.
Yeah, no, that spot is notorious for Val for very good reason, and the only way you're really getting through that spot easily is by knocking her out of the spin with Kane, or just having overwhelming physical force. And Rosa was perfect for that.
She was the can opener in reality, because without her or Kane, like you said, then I wasn't unlocking that Cecil anytime soon. So yeah, that I was glad she was hitting for like 600 to 800. So it took 3 or 4 shots. Yeah, that was that hasn't been my experience with these seeds so far. When you get a mage team with this treasure setting, it doesn't necessarily get you going.
It is definitely different to what you would normally expect from what you would normally expect from this particular flag set, definitely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, outside of this seed, this now moves you into kind of a nice position in your group. We were talking about that 4-0 in the Dragoon Helm group with Probably one of the most stacked groups at first blush when you just see everyone else between Dusty and Commander and Rex and Leggy and Ultros. How you feeling knowing that you're 4-0 with one race left against Dusty, who already has a loss in that column?
Dusty is a legend in this community for a reason. So it's going to be extremely difficult to beat him. I think if I get a seed like this, my guess is Dusty beats me most times. So that's probably going to take, a high roll gear and character kind of seed for me to have a shot. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think this is my first official match ever against Dusty in a tournament. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be racing tomorrow at 7. And that's going to be, like you said, my last race, I guess, unless I lose, and then there's a chance that I have to do a tiebreaker, I think. So I guess if I win, it's my last race of groups, and if not, I'll have one more next week, at least.
That's as long as Dusty doesn't lose one more.
Yeah, lots of a lot of our group are getting like their final matches in this weekend. So yeah, things are up in the air still, but pretty excited to be able to go 4-0 so far. Having lots of fun.
All we can really say is good luck for your final race, and we'll see what happens very soon, I suppose.
Yeah, thanks everyone on the team. Poidrak, Vitasia, Warlink. Those are the only 3 members of the team. There wasn't a 4th member of the team that rolled this horrible seed, was there? Oh, okay. Thank you, Harumph, I guess.
We are very happy to have Harumph on as our restreamer today. I do not take that away from him.
Harumph's awesome. Just don't ever give me a seed like that again, please, sir.
Okay, and with that, we did actually get a forfeit from leggystarscream. No judgment here. After that horrible of a scene, I'm throwing my controller against the wall too. So no judgment whatsoever. Big shout out again to everyone behind the scenes. Harumph, who did roll this wonderful masterpiece, Warlink for the tracking. If you liked what you saw from the runners, both microKorgs and leggystarscream, give them a follow here on Twitch. And again, another shout out, of course, to my co-commentator, Poidrak. I always have a blast when we work together, Poidrak, and this was a particularly fun seed to work together on.
Well, you broke me into you were my very first commentary partner way back when I started getting into this, and you've always been one of my favorite commentators to listen to and work with, so thank you very much for being here as well. And yeah, always fun.
Absolutely. With that, we are going to be raiding over RPG Limit Break, where we have an ongoing race between Possum Orpheus and Asmati Games. Just a reminder to everyone, do not spoil this race. Just make sure that we are emphatic that they must watch this one, because it was a terror and worth every moment watching through this slog. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure you follow also the Free Enterprise channels, Free Enterprise 2, and of course RPG Limit Break, our partner. Have fun, and we'll see you all at the next race.
Have a good evening, everyone.